Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something that's at the very heart of modern AI. We're talking about how we teach machines to understand what our words actually mean, not just see them as a bunch of letters on a screen. So, let's jump right in. So let's start with the big question, the one that kicks this all off. How do you actually teach a machine what a word means? You know, it's easy for us, but for a computer, how do you get it to understand that the word king isn't just four letters, but a whole concept of royalty, power, and how it relates to the word queen? So why is language so tricky for computers? Well, it really boils down to one single massive problem that we humans deal with every second of every day without even thinking about it. And that problem is ambiguity. Ambiguity is just a fancy way of saying that a single word or phrase can have multiple meanings, and it all depends on context. I mean, think about the word bank. Are you talking about a riverbank, or are you talking about a place to get money? For a machine that can't see the whole picture, trying to figure that out is a huge challenge. And this problem pops up everywhere. At the word level, a word like tie could be the thing you wear, the act of tying your shoes, or a tied score in a game. It even happens at the sentence level. If I say, I saw the man with the telescope, who's got the telescope? Me or the man? And then on a much deeper level, you can totally lose the meaning. A machine might see the word fan and think of an admirer when you're really just talking about a device to cool you down. Without context, the machine is basically just guessing. Okay, so how did we first even try to solve this? The very first challenge was just figuring out how to turn words into numbers a computer could understand. And the earliest methods relied on something called sparse vectors. The classic approach here is called one-hot encoding. It's pretty simple, actually. Just imagine you make a list of every single word in the English language. To represent the word cat, you'd create this long list of numbers, a vector, that's all zeros, except for one little one in the unique spot you've assigned for the word cat. Now, let's think about the sheer scale of that for a second. If your vocabulary has, say, 100,000 words, then every single word is represented by a vector with 100,000 dimensions. For those of you who work with databases, that's like having a table with 100,000 columns. And for each word, just one single cell has a value. The rest is empty. It's incredibly inefficient. So here's the bottom line. This old way had some major flaws. The vectors are gigantic and almost entirely empty. But the real killer? This method has absolutely no concept of meaning. The vector for king is just as different from queen as it is from motorcycle. Any and all relationships between words are just gone.
So yeah, that whole system was a huge roadblock. It just wasn't going to work long term. There had to be a better way, right? Well, thankfully there was. And the breakthrough came from a totally new way of thinking: word embeddings.
Okay, so instead of that massive sparse vector, a word embedding is a much smaller, dense vector. We're talking maybe a few hundred dimensions instead of hundreds of thousands. But here's the absolute key. This new representation isn't just assigned randomly. It is learned by the machine from studying how words are actually used together in billions of sentences. So let's put it side by side. Word embeddings basically solve every single problem of the old way. Instead of being huge and sparse, they're compact and dense. Instead of having zero context, they are literally built from context. And this is the most powerful part. They actually model the relationships between words.
But wait a minute. How can a list of numbers model a relationship? How does that actually work? This is where it gets really cool. To get it, we have to look at what these vectors actually represent.
The secret sauce is that word embeddings turn meaning into geography. It's like a map. In this new, high-dimensional space, words that have similar meanings, like dog and puppy, end up being located right next to each other. Their vectors point in almost the same direction. It's a map of meaning. And because these relationships are now just distances and directions, you can literally do math with them. It's amazing. So for example, what do you think would happen if we took the vector for France? Then we subtracted the vector for Paris to kind of remove the concept of its capital. And then we added the vector for Rome. What are we left with? The result is a vector that lands incredibly close to the vector for Italy. Think about that. The model learned the relationship capital city of without anyone ever telling it what a capital city is. It just figured out that the relationship between Paris and France is the same as the one between Rome and Italy. It's incredible.
Now, this isn't just some clever math trick. This is the bedrock technology that makes so many of the AI tools we use every single day even possible. I mean, this is the magic behind so much of our daily tech. It's why search engines can figure out what you mean to ask, not just the keywords you typed. It's what powers machine translation that actually gets the nuance right. It lets chatbots give you answers that make sense and feel human. And it's how a machine can read a product review and figure out if the person was happy or angry.
So really, if you take away one thing, it's this. Word embeddings give machines the power to generalize. They can understand that a sentence they've never seen before is similar in meaning to one they have, all because the word vectors are close by on that map of meaning. And that ability to generalize, well, that's a cornerstone of what we call intelligence.
Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. We've gone from just counting words to actually mapping out their meaning. So if machines can now truly start to grasp the complex web of relationships in our language, what's next? Can they use that same ability to start grasping the meaning of our world?
And that's our look at word embeddings. If you found this useful and enjoyed the explainer, please do me a favor and hit that like button, share it, and subscribe for more deep dives into the tech that is shaping everything around us. Thanks so much for watching.